All right, here we go, guys. How's everybody doing today? This is gonna be a fun stream. I've been doing some things, lots of things on the old desktop environment here, and I gotta say, there's a lot of rabbit holes I've gone down this past week. I'm gonna explore some of it, but a lot of people think of distributions, a lot of Linux distributions, as this one's the best one or whatever it might be. But a lot of people miss the entire thing about all this, and that is no distribution does it right at all. And I'm not going to say this is going to do it right either. I'm just going to say there's all these different components making up a good distribution. And really this is kind of coming at it at a different way and kind of teaching someone new. And after watching Linus Tech Tips, Evo's Vox, and all that, this method would be what I'd recommend for them, because they're going to be able to game just as they do now on their Windows boxes. Perfect. But they have hardware that some people don't have, so it wouldn't be suitable for someone on a budget. The second thing is it's going to be extremely productive, and you're going to use your computer completely different. So that's the whole purpose of this, is the complete system. And really that's what I'm doing here. But let me catch up with chat here, and then we'll jump right into it. But yeah, that's the whole purpose. Building the ultimate system for everything. And we're going to cheat a little bit in parts, and you'll see what I mean, because it will beat any system out there. Let's see here. Watch your speed up any... let me get that. Bam. Do I need to redo this after an Android update? Yeah. Typically, Android will re-bloat on major updates, so you will need to de-bloat it again. While building the older system, don't forget who uses older games, since many people's interests. I'm struggling with that part. So, this is where the cheating gets into effect. I still think Windows is a better gaming experience than Linux. Full stop. But there's ways to get around a lot of that to where it doesn't matter. So that's kind of where we'll get into it a bit. And there's a lot of different ways you can take and go. We'll go down a couple different rabbit holes. Friday's stream is still going to be kind of this. What we're building for Friday will integrate with this, but it's going to be a whole system that is dedicated for basically a game server. And yeah, we're going to get into some local game server stuff on Friday. That's going to be Friday's endeavor. I'm going to have a whole new rack. We're going to pull out the main system that we're working on today. We're going to be swapping some graphics cards and then building out a secondary system for kind of that'll all integrate into the main system. At the end of it, it'll all be very cohesive, and it'll work surprisingly well. Better than Windows works, I'll tell you that. That's my guarantee at the end of this, is we'll have something better than Windows, even though spoiler, we're going to be using some Windows in Friday's build. So that's kind of where we're at with that. But the productivity standpoint and what we're gaining from this is huge. Absolutely huge. Oh, let's see. GFY's in chat. How's it going, man? Good seeing you. Morning, Michael. Unraid. Ugh. Only noobs use Unraid. You can clip that if you want. No, don't use Unraid. Ew. Gross. Feel dirty just by that one comment. Moving on. This video is not going to be sponsored by Unraid. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of Unraid. If you couldn't gather from that. Let's see. Will you leave dual boot an option? Yeah, so we'll see. We'll still have a lot of the traditional setup. We're going to modify some of the Debian installer, though. Big time. We'll figure that out. We're going to keep ironing things out, as we do with like Arch Titus and that whole automation script. I'm still doing commits on that. I think I did a couple this week. I still need to do some further testing on the test branch, but I'll have that going. Why does Fedora LTT post. They're doing a game in many guides. For a noob, Fedora is not really good because there's not very many community guides, and almost everything written for a lot of games is made with either Arch or Debian based systems in mind. So that's why a lot of people write off Fedora. It's based on RHEL though. I do like Fedora, and honestly, the first system I did for my Linux challenge, what was it, back in 2018, was Fedora. But big asterisk here. I did a lot of telephony and asterisk box builds. So I learned on CentOS, which is based on RHEL, and Fedora is based on RHEL. So it's basically the same ecosystem. And I was so used to Yum and DNF package manager that Fedora was a logical first selection for me. That will not be true for 99% of the people out there. So that's why I wouldn't consider it a viable solution for a beginner. But I do love Fedora. I do love the VM stuff, especially the excitement around a lot of the containers. Ever since I think Fedora 30, they've been doing some really exciting stuff with containers. So I don't want to discount Fedora, but that's why it pretty much does not usually get selected by a beginner. Yeah, and Linus just did something, I think, on the LT Clips about gaming. And I haven't watched the entire video, but from what I gathered from it, more or less, I was kind of in agreement with a lot of the stuff they were saying. A lot of stuff. So, mic's cutting. Oh, okay. I might just be yelling in the microphone too much. Sorry, guys. Let me scoot that mic back a little. I get excited and then there's clipping. If you have QEMU, doesn't matter. QEMU is good for a lot of stuff. Gordon, I use Pop! OS, and I was wondering if you would be able to do a video about automated drives and having them show in the Nautilus sidebar. Yeah, I've done a video. It's been a long time on that one. I think I was using FSTAB for auto mounting drives. It's an old video now, Gordon. Which let me see. I'm gonna go up here. Let's go to the desktop. I think auto mount drives is. Auto mount drives. Oh, maybe mount? Oh man, that is ancient. Yikes. Okay, yeah, that was one of the very first videos I ever did. So that's an oldie. What did I do in this video? Let's see.
In this video, I show you how to mount a drive in Linux and have it automatically mount every time your computer starts up. I do it in a safe and simplistic manner that many other tutorials out there do not show.
Whoa. Back when I had stingers, okay.
Okay, we're gonna start this off by mounting our secondary drive in Linux. So we'll pull up our file explorer. And this is actually in Fedora 29. I've kind of reskinned this so it looks a little bit off.
Fedora,
that's what
first one I did.
Actual whole GUI is.
Oh,
but
man.
Open up your file explorer, and if you go to other locations here, this is the same for Ubuntu as well. So you'll see you have your standard hard drive up here. And
all right, get to the point, Chris.
To do this, do a ll data 2. We'll say permission denied because we didn't do sudo. So we do all kinds of bad stuff, root privileges or any of that other crap to access our actual drive. So let's go ahead and change that. So we're gonna just go sudo. Gonna remove that. Do sudo thing because I dual boot, so I access my Windows drive on both.
Yeah. So, oh man, this is an interesting. I gotta give some backstory here. I was using ETF FSTAB, which is actually not the. I mean, it's still the easiest way, I think, but it's actually not what I'd recommend. And let me, bam. Saw we got a super chat too. Oh, Niku, thanks for joining membership. But this is not really the recommended way anymore that I would do it. fstab can have issues and can be problematic. So this way is how I showed in this video how to mount a hard drive on startup. But a lot of the things I like to do now is specifically when I started the video, I was like, hey, or started this live stream, I was like, I don't really like a lot of distributions because they have systemd, but they don't utilize systemd. And I think if we go into CD, let's see, I think I was doing systemd. I can't remember exactly where I put it, but it might be under system. Let's check. Yeah. So what I did here is I would make, you either go into this folder, because almost every distribution is based on systemd these days, and you would do this media-data.mount. Let's go ahead and do data. And basically what this is doing is you're making a systemd service to mount your drives. And why I do it this way is because we have greater control over how and when these get mounted. It doesn't try to mount a drive before your network comes online, because you can say, hey, it requires this service. And you can do a lot of just amazing things with this specific one. Sledge, man, thanks so much for the super chat. Jeez, man, that's awesome. Love your channel. Keep up the good work. Greetings from Switzerland. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, Fedora was my first. And as you saw actually in that video in November 7th, I was probably 1 week into my Linux challenge when I was making that video about using fstab to mount drives. And a lot of those, like I said, it's not really a fair comparison because I was a sysadmin doing Linux in server, to where being in command line is so much better than that. And in that video, it looked like KDE, but that was actually GNOME. I was so silly when I started. I was trying to make GNOME look like KDE for some crazy asinine reason. Oh my goodness, I tell you. But anyways, that's an interesting thing. I highly recommend mounting drives this way. And I think I even made a special service with Network Online Target, I think it is. Let's see. Nope, that's not it. Network Online, that's what it was. Networkonline.service. Yeah. So this right here was a service I created to go with the mounting of drives. And what that did is it would run nm-online. And what that does is it goes out to the internet, verifies you have internet connectivity, and then it'll actually establish everything. So then you can do this as a dependency. So I'll make a video kind of going over this and how everyone screws up mounting drives in Linux. Everyone does it. I hate how people do it in Linux. It should be done this way, as I think this is proper, and this is just something I have been working on. So me catch back up here. I know I'm missing some stuff. AutoFS is great for CIFS and NFS. Yeah, I need to look into that, Sam, which is great. And AutoFS works a lot better. Like I said, fstab's starting to get really long in the tooth, and systemd gives a lot of really cool stuff. Let's see. Oh man, yeah, that was some good times. What was that? Back in 2019, man, I got blitzed on that stream as we did it. That was back when I was just, or the first. Was that the the Arch one was the night before, I think, when I installed Arch. That was the first time installing Arch. I did it coming home from a party. That was fun. Having an issue with the Arch Titus script. Noticed you're on, so I thought I'd throw a comment here. The script doesn't appear to support legacy mode, and I'm on older hardware. It does, Ben. This was added within, I think, the past week, though. And I remember I had some bugs when I first launched it, but I did a couple commits this week, and it should work just fine. But yeah, I added legacy mode support and then UEFI support as well. Ah, jeez. Getting kind of hot here. I was outside. All right, let's see. I needed a good mounting video. Yeah, that F-stab method works most of the time, though. For most people just wanting to mount some locally installer hard drives, you can still do it in F-stab. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not something that I care too much about. Yeah. Be careful when editing it, though. Always do like a mount space -A afterwards. Verify your mounts, and you should be good. But you can always fix it even if your system doesn't boot. Could your Arch Titus script prompt if they want a static and apply that? Yeah, we can do that. That's easy enough. I mean, the cool thing about Linux, guys, is a lot of people try to say, hey, you need a GUI for this. But I'd argue everything can be done in terminal, and not only can it be done in terminal, this is where I have a disconnect with a lot of the Linux community, is everything can be scripted, everything can be automated. There's no reason for you to do anything. Whether it's GUI or terminal, yeah, everything can be done in the terminal, but if it can be done in the terminal, you can write a script to just automatically do whatever that thing is you want to do. And that's where I have a lot of where I just kind of crap on a lot of the Linux community. I'm like, guys, come on, you could do a better job. Instead of just saying go to the terminal, I'm like, well, you could just write a script to just do everything you want to do. That's the power of Linux. I mean, and same thing could be kind of said about Windows in some respects, but it's not nearly as powerful. So that's kind of the cool thing. My FS tab, I always say F-stab, but it's actually pronounced FS tab. So don't ever think anything I say is like what is it? Phenonemically correct. I can't say that word, but how I pronounce stuff is usually wrong, and I know that grinds on people's gears, but I call it F-stab. Broke my system when I tried to add my external drive. Yeah, always do like a mount space -A afterwards, just to make sure you got it in there correctly. I can't emphasize that enough. But even so, today's video showed single user mode, and you could always just do an edit with your grub startup and just do single user mode and edit it there. It's not that big. Yeah, so I'm not saying Unraid's a bad program. I just don't like it. So I crapped on Unraid when we started, but I just want to stipulate Unraid is a good program for a lot of noob users. If you're really new to virtualization, Unraid's probably a great system for you. But for anybody that's a veteran user or that's been in the industry at any period of time, Unraid's going to make you angry and probably not make you want to use it, because there's just so many better virtualization options out there. Where Unraid kind of shines, and I'm trying to think of like a use case where I'd use it, is if I only had one system and I was hooking up like a monitor and a keyboard and some other stuff to just use that one box. But typically if you're using virtualization hardware and you're carving stuff up, usually it's all headless in a rack, and Unraid is not a solution I would recommend in that scenario. Unless you're a noob and you just aren't familiar with a lot of virtualization stuff, then have at it. There's nothing wrong with Unraid. That was just, I'm so much way better with VMware, ESXi, and Hyper-V. I got some Windows Server license I could throw on there, or we could just do like Zen Server with maybe like an XCP-NG version of that. All those are better hypervisors. They're just going to be better at virtualization and overall just a better experience for all virtualization. Where Unraid is it's like a weird hybrid where it's not really all that good in that regard. Let's see. Hey, fellow Texan, what's your streaming software? I always use OBS Studio. It's free, open source, and it's fantastic. Let's see. Gordon, thanks so much for the super chat. I just switched to Linux this year and was wondering, what is the best way to learn the ins and outs? Honestly, I learned probably the most installing Arch the hard way, hard mode Arch. because it kind of forces you to break down all the pieces of Linux when you're installing it, so you get to understand, hey, the bootloader, the display renderer, and understanding what all the package that goes into makes up a Linux distribution. So that's why I kind of like that. But that's the best way to learn, I think. Try it out. I'm more of a hands-on person, though, for sure. I didn't do very well in school. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, like I wouldn't bother with a headless Unraid. Like I said, there's way better virtualization options out in the market than Unraid. My personal recommendation would be learn XCP-ng, and then you can do PCI pass-through and a lot of stuff if you're going with like a headless configuration. But if you're like trying to utilize that system and have like games and stuff on it, and you're like right there, then yeah, you might want to just go with an Unraid. Like I said, it's a very simplistic setup process, and they do make it very noob friendly when it comes to Unraid. But XCP-ng in my eyes is light years better. TSC deadline disabled due to errata? What is that? I gotta look that up, man. I've never even heard of that error. It'd be interesting to see. TSC deadline disabled. It's probably like a setting with your VM box. Oh, it's a microcode. You're missing the microcode. Probably like your Intel-U code is probably what you're missing. Let's see. That could be one. Definitely try to install that package. For whatever reason, maybe it didn't detect your CPU and didn't get that U code driver installed properly. But definitely a microcode error, which was typically in direct correlation to your driver. I'm seeing not too much else here. Yeah, just make sure you have the proper U code, which is Intel-U code is the package, which it should automatically detect. Maybe it's not, and that's why you're getting that error. I don't really see any other like workarounds or other things it could be. That's probably gonna be what is causing that error. Yeah, I don't see anything else here, man. So yeah, check out to make sure your U code driver's in. All right, let's see what else we got. And then we'll get to building. We'll take... it depends on the situation. Proxmox is really good for hobbyists, or if I'm doing like a bunch of like tutorials on YouTube and I need to show the desktop of a bunch of VMs, Proxmox is actually really good because it has a Spice server, which XCP-ng doesn't by default. I mean, you can kind of hack around and get it going, but for the most part, Proxmox is going to make your VMs look a little more pretty because of Spice and some other acceleration that they have from the GPU perspective that you can do that. So it's more of a real niche case where you might use Proxmox. But yes, for 99% of the things, XCP-ng over Proxmox any day of the week. XCP-ng is going to be far more stable. It's really built for a headless environment. I really like Zen Orchestra, even if you do the community edition. I highly recommend that. And then if you don't, you can always use Zen Center. I mean, that's more of a Zen Center is more, or it's XCP-ng Center is what it's called, but that's more for Windows administration from a Windows box, but it does really well. From that, I usually always have a Windows box laying around for it, and that's why I'd say XCP-ng for sure, no doubt. Yeah, I talked a little bit about that sim when it came to Linus's video. I agreed with most of the parts. I didn't make it through the whole video because I had to jump on the live stream, but I'd say, you know, it's about what I expected. I did notice, I think it was like around the 9 or 10 minute marker on his latest from LMG Clips. Him and Luke, or I think Luke was more sold on Linux than Linus, but I think Luke said he was going to change out his work laptop to be Linux going forward. And he's going to continually use Linux for productivity purposes, which is cool, which is really cool. So I think he's going to keep doing it. I mean, I think both of them agreed the gaming choices on Linux were not so great. But I was like, yeah, that's about kind of like the conclusion I came to. Which is, you know, not too bad. There's a lot of things we can do to fix a lot of the problems. Like I said, at the end of the day, this would be a great one. Thanks, Dio. Appreciate it, man. Oh, the dedicated LTT channel video is out. Oh my gosh, yeah. No, I haven't seen that one yet. I need to check that one out. But I haven't seen it. I would say he's probably going to move back to Windows. Definitely Windows for gaming is probably a big thing he will say in that video, and then probably say he really likes the Linux desktop because it's a great experience. I really do love Linux desktop experience, and I always tell people Linux is great for productivity. Once you get going on it, it's fantastic. Yeah, the Pop! OS Steam. Steam will fix a lot of this. When it comes to a lot of things in Linux, it's just there's so many little pitfalls a new user can go down, and I know they probably went and stepped in it a couple times. Probably the biggest thing is people get carried away installing packages on Linux, and then it's just you know, a lot of people who can't just be satisfied with what packages are there, or they try and basically shove a square in a circle hole. And Linux lets you do that. It just isn't an enjoyable experience a lot of times. But I do need to watch the video before I comment much further. It basically uninstalls the GUI and Session Manager. And yeah, kind of like let's just dive into what I'm building here. Now that we've got going, we're about 30 minutes into the stream. Let's start diving in. I'm gonna take any more questions from chat and stuff. I might look over and see it. So if I'm doing something wrong, you let me know. But I really do want to show you guys kind of what the thought process is behind a lot of what we're doing. So let's come on the desktop. And the big thing here is this bottom taskbar. I probably should put it back at the top. Let's ask chat. What do you guys like? Do you like the bottom chat bar? Or, oops. No. Where's that at? Come on. Nope. 1 second. Lost my chat over here. And on my 3rd or 4th monitor. I got too many monitors. There it is. Okay. So, we already talked a little bit about systemd mounts. I was running into a shutdown issue where some programs weren't cleanly shutting down, and that was causing things to get kind of gummed up on reboot, where it would take a minute or something to shut down your PC when it should take a split second. So I actually created a script for that. A lot of people are saying top. Well, let's see what we got. Let's see what we got with that. We can change that config, and I'll show that here shortly. Cheat sheet. I'm going to put a cheat sheet with everything, kind of like maybe a Conky plugin or something over here, but also make a more expansive cheat sheet using like Super and F1 to kind of pull up hey, these are all the different keyboard shortcuts. Because at the end of the day, I don't want people using their mouse too much when they're in here. And then polybar config, we're about to jump into that. And then, you know, I made the jump to Pipewire, and you can kind of not see it behind me. So let's go ahead. It's right down here, but let's go ahead and push it to the top. But before we do that, I want to see how many people in chat like their bar at the top of the screen right here, or at the bottom down here. Which one do you guys like? Me personally, I'm kind of indifferent. I don't really care either way. So I want to just see the community's response to this bar at the top, bottom versus the top. And let's come on over here. Let's wait. You don't have to spam chat, guys. I'm about to make it. Where should taskbar be? And then we're gonna just say top, bottom, and then you guys can vote. Let's ask. Survey is on the way. Survey says, let's see what y'all are thinking. I'm curious to see what the first one is. Usually, yeah, I mean, chat spamming is just, you know, when I need to have the poll ready to go before I ask the question. If I was really thinking big brain here. Left bar. Oh my gosh, I should have added a left option. Although you'd definitely be like 1%, I think. A good chunk in the top. Good chunk. 57. Let's see here. Yeah. So let's change this real fast. I'm going to keep the poll open for just a bit. Let y'all kind of hash it out in chat. And you know what? I think I can just do... What was my last Vim? Let's do config BSPWM. And let's take a peek at our top padding and bottom padding. Bottom padding is 9, top padding is that. That's fine. Alright, and that's weird. I thought there was more top padding and bottom padding, but I could be wrong. Polybar probably does something in that regard. And I'll kind of show that script a little more, but let's go into Polybar and config. So we have window restack BSP WM right there. Probably would do a manual padding here as well. Let's see, we should have bottom somewhere. And we'll go next. Bottom true. I think I can just change that to top equals true. Yeah. Alright, let's do that. We'll just delete that word and come to the beginning of that line. Bottom. Is there anything else? No, that's good. So now we'll just reload this. Throw that on top, and now we can you see the margin issue. It's kind of overlapping our bar. Let's fix that real quick. We'll probably do the margin directly in our BSP WM, which I think we can just do Vim, right? Oop, nope. BSP WM. We're gonna just change that margin and then we'll fix it. And I'll leave it at the top. I honestly, for my config, it works better because I have a monitor right here. Having that bar at the top probably is a lot better than leaving it the other way. So let's change our top padding. I would say probably about 20 pixels should get us there. 29 pixels. I'm feeling that number. Let's see how that looks. So we'll save that out. Reload that. Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good selection. Perfect. So that's our new bottom spread, which if I look, yeah, okay. Some of this didn't format correctly, but that's just from me reloading the environment so many times. Next, we need to make that bar look a lot better. Now I want to give you guys some ideas here, and this is just kind of, we're not actually building out the script or the actual system just yet. I'm getting all the packages kind of lined up and just right how I want it. And then we're going to kind of make that, and then we basically tear everything down and then rebuild it in more of a script form. and package it up for everybody to kind of consume. So that's the process of all this. Right now, we're kind of in the creativity stage, making something awesome. And so right now, I don't like the numbers. The big critiques here. I don't like the numbers. Obviously, dual volume bars. Having like the CPU memory usage up on the top looks really ugly. I don't particularly like that. Taskbar looks okay though. Or the task tray that has all that. That's fine. But we need to make this look better. And there's one package I like, and I was looking at like the Unix subreddit where people kind of rice out their systems, make them look beautiful. And there's one particular one that I've always idolized, but it has never been well documented. And I think it was this one right here, Genome from Barbarossa. I think he's won a lot of awards with this particular package. And I'm particularly fond of his style here. So I'm not much of an artist, but I can look and imitate other artists fairly well. And this is one I would personally like to imitate. So here's his polybar setup right here. I dig the icon he chose. I love how the workspaces aren't numbered, but are more of icons than numbers, which I thought was pretty slick. I don't know about this to-do bar. We might take like some modifications to that. Shows the application focus right here, which is neofetch running that. Or that might actually be the last run command. I don't think... Yeah, that should be Alacrity is what he's got there. And then he has volume in more of a minimalist portion, just saying 1%, which is personally what I prefer. 55%. I think this is his brightness level for his laptop here. And this is a plugin for the wireless LAN. And I will be installing the same thing on my laptop indoors. We have our plugin menu here, and this is, I believe, the task tray that he has set up. That looks like Blue Man. That looks like some type of system updater, I imagine. The tomato, I want to say, is a to-do. The bell's obviously notifications, and this is more of a brightness, probably, indicator that's running in the background. So that's kind of his taskbar, but I really like his aesthetic, specifically the shadows. And this is kind of the look I want to emulate. Now, I'm not going to straight up take it because there's some things he's done here which I'm not a big fan of, and also this is Arch based. I don't want to do this in Arch. I want a more stable experience in Debian. I just want to take the design aspects, because a lot of rices come from Arch, which are great, but when you want to make a system that is for the masses, so to speak, you don't want them installing a bunch of different packages and then breaking the system. And the whole purpose of this is to make a very stable, good-looking system that is capable of doing all that. Yeah, and this is amazing. So I can look at artwork and basically duplicate it. And I want to duplicate this in a non-Arch environment, in our environment, and replace our ugly bar. So how I would start this process, now that you kind of get where I'm going with it, is kind of getting this. And also, I missed this right here. Look at what he did with the system pop-up options. Oh, if that isn't sexy, I don't know what is. And the whole idea is because it would actually cut off like right there. That's the bottom of the monitor right here that you see. Obviously, you don't need all this. Very cool though. He has this like Spotify, and he actually did an entire Spotify skin, which is obviously this guy has some extreme talent as an artist. But taking a lot of these aesthetics and implementing them and transplanting them from an Arch environment into the Debian side of things would be choice. So I love this. And we probably will add different things down here and not just do a one-to-one. But I mean, how can you not enjoy its and not admire this whole setup? So with that said, let's first work on our bar, because that's the goal. now we start with the base config, which I haven't really changed almost anything from the base config. We just kind of figuring out where it goes, how it works a little bit, but we really haven't done anything to make a big change here. So let's go do this. Chris, you should call this NUI, not a GUI. I like that, Sam. So let's first start with this polybar config, which should be in his .config folder. And he is using OO and some other plugins here, so this isn't going to look right when we first import it. We're just going to see how much stuff is broken for us. As far as his scripts here, let's see what he has. Nothing too crazy. And you know what I'm going to do? Let's just grab and clone this whole project and pull it into our command line and work on it from there. So we're just going to do a git clone and just grab his whole project, which I think he has quite a bit in here. How many packages am I aiming for? Probably around 2,000. It's going to be a little bit on the heavy side, but I do want everything to be included that a Windows user would want. And that's really why I'm going more on the heavy side of things. But even having said that, we shouldn't have too many projects. Like if we do, how much are we using right now? Right now we're using about 30 gigs with some programs. I think I have a couple games installed from Lutris. I think I was doing some Minecraft with my daughter and some other things. So we'll keep looking at it. Dio, one quick question. What is the difference between CIS and computer science? Which field degree would you recommend? I don't think a college degree is needed at all for technology-based stuff. If you can create, if you're good at what you do, or you can learn to be good, those skills are valuable and carry over without any college degree. Unless you want to get like hired at Google or Microsoft and you want to work for a big corporation, go for it. I think you're going to live a miserable life. But as far as technology itself, I think just setting up a home lab should be your first priority, and taking some classes maybe at junior college. I mean, and this is speaking as an American. If you're overseas and you get free schooling, I'm not crapping on school. Higher education's fantastic. I just hate how overpriced it is here in the States, and I think a lot of people in the Gen Z and the younger generation are playing at a massive disadvantage with straddling themselves with a bunch of debt, and not necessarily getting a lot of great teachers. I mean, maybe if you go to MIT, you're going to get some great professors out there, not to discount them, but a lot of colleges, a lot of the knowledge is very old, and there's some benefit to it, but I think actually getting a job and working in the industry using maybe technical school, which a lot of tech colleges I like to crap on too, but just developing that out. And if you want to do like a CIS or a computer science degree, that's fine, but that's more for like programming aspects of things. If you're actually building programs, where I think I did like computer concepts for a little bit, but again, I'm a college dropout. I only took a couple semesters in a junior college, not even a reputable college. So there's a couple classes and I'm thankful I did that, but I'm very thankful I never went to a 4-year college. Linux Museum, doing good, man. Thanks so much for the super chat. Yeah, and that's the thing here is, and also the big thing, college can be very, very good. Don't get me wrong. It's just for IT, you need to be able to do it, and being textbook smart, or even let's take college out of the equation. Certification, a lot of people put a ton of stock in certificates, and I've run into people with 20 different certificates and they were worthless. And this is what you call a paper tiger, where someone looks good on paper, but they're, they look like a tiger on paper, but when you get them in real life, they just can't do anything. And that's why at the end of the day, it's really more about what you can do. And these paper tigers, I think, can blend in a lot better in big corporations where they kind of go into the background a little bit. And performance isn't necessarily like, you could be very good at like one specific task, but not very good at a lot of things. And that's one thing to learn is being able to do the work is so much more important. Experience always trumps all. It's getting that initial experience that's always the most difficult part. Having some type of higher education usually gets your foot in the door to get the experience. But make no mistake, the experience is always the end goal, because once you have the experience, nothing else matters. I'm never going to go get another cert unless it was required for me to work on something. Then I'll just go take the test and pass it and get the cert. It's not that big a deal, but I would only do it because of some kind of artificial requirement. And once you have the experience, certs and college and all that stuff that people idolize in your 20s, it doesn't matter as you get older. It's whether or not you can do the work. Sorry, little tangent. Moving on. Yeah, you'll see this a lot. One last thing I'll mention here is I've interfaced with a lot of different companies, government agencies, a lot of different things. And I've run into a lot of paper tigers, and they're people that I just hate because a lot of times they make my job a lot harder because I'm always the guy you just come to get stuff done. And I would try to interface with them, and all they would ever say is they'd always try and give reasons why something can't be done. They were just full of excuses with no practical benefit. And those are people I've gotten in contract disputes where I've been hired for a company, and I've come in and they spent tens of thousands of dollars hiring entities that just were worthless. And I was like, listen, guys, you're going to have to go to legal because I'm not going to use them. They're worthless, and they're just going to make this go completely south. I'm just going to do it. And I've completely bypassed entire contracts because of these paper tigers, because the one thing the paper tiger excels at is they're great with excuses. And at the end of the day, anything, and I do mean anything, can be accomplished in IT. Remember that. There's never been a time where I thought this is impossible. Actually, there has been a time I thought something was impossible, but I just went and hammered at it anyways. And at the end of the day, I got there. And after that experience, I realized anything is possible. And that's true in technology. It's the only two factors of if something's possible is time and money. That's it. Do you have the time to do it, or do you have the money to do it, the resources? And time and money will solve anything as long as you have the skill set, or you have the time to learn the skill set. All right, we're done. Moving on. Sorry for the preachy. Getting off my box. Auto CPU frequency is still the best. I'm using it on my laptop right now, and I really, really enjoy it. All right, let's move to... We've cloned our library from Genome. And we're going to take a peek at the .config in this one right here. And I've also switched to Starship. I'm sure some people probably are noticing that in chat, which is pretty cool. Your voice sounds a bit boomy today. Lack of warmth and clarity. Oh, really, Peter? Oh, man. All right. I wonder what's... maybe... Have my kids been messing with my knobs back there? I'll have to take a look. It could be also the mic's pretty far away. I could get it a little closer. Oh, maybe not. Probably a little bit better if I'm real close. Because I was kind of looking away from the mic. Let's see, is that better? We can just go into Polybar and take a peek. And we're going to look at config. Way better, yeah. For this mic, you kind of have to get it kind of close. Probably within a foot. And I was kind of projecting away from it. I'm just using it wrong. You're just using it wrong. Let's see here. We got some shade set up. And everything else looks good. Let's take a peek. We got i3 still in here. Now, what I like to do when I'm working on someone else's config file is remove kind of like the old garbage. We can get rid of that. Unless it's something I'm going to go to. But if there's any mention of like i3, I'm not going to be using that window manager. And I don't like borders. Tray position, background, attached. Restack looks good. This is where we get into the modules. That's each individual part of the polybar that we're going to be working with. Yeah, usually I won't be clipping as long as I control my voice. Sometimes I get excited, and then you're going to get some clipping because I go, I get crazy. And usually I put a limiter to make it like not too crazy bad, like PewDiePie bad. But sometimes I'll still get excited and like yell in the mic or something like that, and then you run into some problems. All right, we got modules, void, module left, right. This is just adding some finesse to the actual microphone or the actual module. Looks like more colors. All our icons are showing up. This is another thing a lot of people miss is like not installing the proper fonts, and this just looks like a box with numbers in it. Usually that means your font's not there, or if you just see a square, you're missing a font package. So make sure that definitely populates when looking at maybe a config like this. We'll leave these comments in for the padding, just in case. All that looks good. I like that. This is just Vim. I don't use anything fancy. Usually just Vim gets me by. I probably should do like Neo Vim with some plugins. And honestly, I could probably theme this Vim out a little bit better. As I haven't really messed with it too much. And then we got an i3 module, which we do not need. Probably like what? Get rid of that. How far does this module go? I guess we can go visual mode. Let's take a peek. I didn't miss anything, did I? i3 mode. Okay. And then we just delete that. All right. Oops. Let's do that. So now we've cleared up that module. I'm just getting rid of like i3 and anything else I might see that I don't like. Rofi launcher, which I'm using Rofi. We'll use that, which that's this right here. That's the combination menu. I'll probably modify how he has it set up. It may not be as pretty, but we'll probably theme it out using his theme. And I like to kind of display where things are on what window, and then also having all of the recent apps on there. As you see, that first bit, those are all the apps I've launched probably in the past couple days. And then when it starts at like 411 or 7Z, and then it starts going alphabetical, those are apps that are just alphabetical after your recents. So if I was like, where did I put that? And it's on one of my workspaces, you can just tab down and enter into it. Yeah, this is going to be basically a functional window manager that's auto set up. Window managers are great, but the setup process is awful. It just has always been awful. And a lot of people are, almost fanatical about window managers, because once you get through that huge learning curve and get it set up exactly how you want it, it's an amazing experience. But getting it there is the big part. And this is where, as I do it on live stream, we kind of customize it and get feedback and figure out what a lot of people want. And it's not going to be for everybody, mind you. Not your grandma's not going to want to do this, but for a lot of people, you're going to really enjoy this setup. Where can you find my Minecraft server? Minecraft.christitus.com is the address. You can get to the web there. You can get to the actual Minecraft server in Minecraft, just typing minecraft.christitus.com. I left it on the standard port. What's Pumod? Not Pumod, but Pomod. Pomod. That's a custom script. I'll have to look to see what he's doing here with that. Take a peek at that. Dunst. I'd need to see. Do I have Dunst installed? Dunst. Dunst is not installed, so we needed that. While we're here installing Dunst, we probably should grab OO as well, I think. Is there a Debian version of OO in the repositories? Let's see. It doesn't look like it. Oh, well, that's just going to grab everything with that. That's no good. Okay. Back to it. Redshift. Oh, how many people use Redshift? Is that a thing? I'm not a big fan of like the red coloring. Maybe I'm just going to be blind when I'm 60, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Bleach Bit's useful, by the way, Stefan. Yeah, Garuda's very bloated, and I think that's what Epos Vox used for gaming. I would not recommend it. He had a bad experience. He said he loved the start of it, but then as soon as he updated it, it broke. A couple people use it. OO is like a widget manager. It makes you can do some really cool stuff with OO. Michael uses Redshift. All right. I might give it like an option. I did see Epos' video on it, which is interesting. Pulse audio. This one, I think we're going to have to, is there a BSP module for Pipeware? Because I do want to use Pipeware for this one, as I've really started to enjoy Pipeware. I've always been critical of Pulse. So Pipeware, BSP, WM, let's see. Do we have a module? Well, do not see it there. Let's go Pipeware, BSP, WM. Oh, Pipewire. My bad. And BSP, WM. Nope. Oh, Pipewire. Yeah. Let's do Pipewire, BSP, WM. Pipeware. What was I thinking? I think I can use the Pulse one as well, because there's a little bit of a... I think there's a little bit of up and down, so I think we can still utilize the module Pulse audio for it. Control right click, Pavu control. Like that. I think we'll give it a whirl. It's just something to recognize. And, you know, let's see if I do right here and I do like a Pavu control. Yeah, okay, so Pavu control does work over here on Pipewire. Cool. Because Pavu control was always like one of my favorite audio utilities for Linux. So we have Jack clients off. Sound a little off. I think everything else looks pretty good. Yeah, I think I need to update my Ultimate gaming guide as well. I did that last year for Linux, and it's still pretty good. There's a lot of games that do work. Right now, I think the only game that I'm playing that I can't get working in Linux is Diablo 2 Resurrected. I've got it to launch a couple times, but it inevitably breaks. So something wonky is up with Diablo 2 Resurrected in Linux. All right, all that looks good. So I think it will work just fine using the Pulse Audio module. Control right is Pavu control, which is what we want. Backlight. Like I said, we won't need black backlight for this. For my laptop, I will definitely need it. All right. And then ETH module. This is going to be an interesting thing. Writing a script to grab the interface. I don't know if there's a system variable that we could grab for the interface there, but obviously EMP 4S0 will not work because mine's going to be EMP, probably EMP5S0. So this right here should be a 5. But interesting nonetheless. I'll have to come back for that. I'll note down that we need to look at some kind of way to modify this to each person's one, which if we look at this Pipewire, we're going to use BSP WM Pulse module. And then we're also going to use BSP WM, or actually it's going to be Polybar interface script. We'll have to figure out some kind of script to grab that. Probably like do a sed. I mean, this is a little bit dirty if you just do like an IPA and then just grab the line and then just set out the interface that your system uses. We could probably do something like that. I don't know how much logic we're going to need in that script, as we do need to like obviously exclude loopback and some other interfaces to automatically have that fill, but we can do that, I'm sure. Moving down. Wireless LAN. This module, we're not going to have anything there. We can leave it at that. I don't think it'll break anything. Jalopy. Will there ever be a workaround for EHC for Linux Steam? They've already kind of released it. Now it's up to the developers to implement it, or the publishers to implement it. Yeah, I saw that. Epiphany from GNOME. Oh man, I'd rather walk over hot coals than use that browser. I'm not a big fan of GNOME. And Epiphany... it'd be hard. It would be a hard switch. My best of luck to Linux experiment though on that. I hope he has a good one. Right now I'm using Brave. I have a, Brave's okay. I'm not in love with it though. Is Pipewire buggy? I don't know about that just yet. I really wanted to try it out here. That's why I put Pipewire on here. As I'm experimenting with this system and we get everything kind of dialed in, we'll definitely dive into that a little bit more. So we have, this is the wireless one, the signal, and our date. And then we should have like the taskbar towards the end here. Although I don't think I saw the module for taskbar. Might have missed it. Power menu. Okay, so we need the Rofi power menu. Let's look for anything else that this is touching for Rofi. So there's the launchers. There's the center notification for Dunst. I don't see where that script is. I'll check for it in our folder here. We have polybar scripts that we need to grab, and then the power menu. All right. So now we have that. Let's do a listing of those polybar scripts. Whoa. All right. That's Redshift. Oh. Still think I'm in Arch. We'll do sudo apt install Redshift just to see if we have that. Yeah, that's in the repository. Okay. And then we also need to grab that portion. So from here, we got well, let's just show our settings. What is it? View. Yeah, Control H. So we need to grab our polybar now. Just looking to see if there's anything crazy here. Doesn't look bad though. That's a fine script. And then we can grab these scripts, throw them in as well. So this polybar can probably be transplanted, and we're gonna just see what it looks like out of the gate. There's gonna be some problems here. I can guarantee you that. So let's go new tab for this. I'm gonna go config. And we're going to rename this old, just so we have a backup of it. We'll put this guy in. And then we also need to look at, what do we got? Rofi. Launchers and power menu. We definitely need those two things. What's in bin? I'm almost tempted to grab these things as well. I think we will. I think we'll grab all of this. And copy. And this, what I'm doing is just looking at Barbarossa's genome project over here, and then looking at this project over here. Obviously, this is our main system that I'm putting stuff in. So we're going to grab his stuff, all his legwork. We're going to see how that goes. Hey, thanks, Zero. Yeah, that's what I try and do, man. Break things, make them look better, get a new experience. It's always a fun deal. Let's just grab, we're going to put that in Codium. And then we're also going to look at this and put it in Codium as well. So this is the theme we're doing. This one right here is just doing Nord icon with show icon theme. I'm using Papyrus for this, and I like my sidebar. Probably need to drop that, but there's not really much there. I don't think we really need to grab this config file. Config, notify. We can grab these two things though. Just gonna look at both of them. See what's that. It looks like just padding. Looks like just CSS to make it look a certain way. So we will grab these two files. Grab that and paste those in there. Okay, I think we're ready for a reload. How do you guys think this is going to break anything? I bet it will. We are grabbing in a ton of stuff. Let's see what we did to our top bar here. I think it's going to look pretty solid, though. All right, here we go. Moment of truth, reload. Oh, nope, that was not the reload button. Reload. Oh, beautiful. There is no top bar. Oh, sad face. Okay. Do we have Rofi? Is that working? Okay, Rofi's working. Oh, gosh. All right, polybar. Oh, I know what we did. We didn't call the proper bar. Who needs a bar? You know, I always thought taskbars are bloated, right? I'm going to put on my Linux Elite hat now and be like, you know what? Who needs GUIs? Taskbars are just bloat. Do you really need them? I mean, technically, to be devil's advocate here, just kind of show two sides of the coin. You really don't need a taskbar. If you wanted to just hang out in here, you could still manage everything from just like a Rofi menu and then just go more full screen with this. I mean, you could have a pretty minimal environment without any kind of panels. I'm like halfway joking here, but really with Rofi, you could select all your apps that you have open. You could go, oh, okay, Discord's in Window 9, Brave's in Window 2, Kitty's in Window 1 and 3, Brave 3CX is in Window 10. So you could go, okay, this is it, Brave, another instance, flip back and forth, flip to this for Discord. Yeah. So, I mean, technically, if you want to go crazy. But needless to say, I want to throw that out there. I'm more of trolling you guys now. Let's get back to actually doing the bar properly. Am I weird for not liking or using workspaces? We all start out not using workspaces. We all start out not liking workspaces. But once you get used to workspaces, it's pretty amazing. It's just, can you get over that hump? Do you want to? That's up to you. I would say you're going to be more productivity with workspaces. If you want more productivity, because who doesn't want more productivity, use workspaces. I can't tell you how much time it saves. So if I want to dedicate Workspace 4 to my web browser and this to my terminal, having this, instead of having to resize it and be like, okay, I got two things over here and then tossing it all on one screen, or I could just be like, okay, this is for this one terminal, this is for my other terminal, this is for my file browser. Having all that at your fingertips, I'm telling you, you'll save so much time. So I understand why some people don't use workspaces, and I just want to let you know, I was once that user a long time ago. But once you start using workspaces, you'll never go back. It's just one of those things. I believe I'm on 5.14 now. Let's see. Yeah, we're on 5.14, Debian. I did switch to SID from testing. And the reason why I switched from testing to SID was SID really never breaks on me. And I was missing a couple packages that I really, really wanted. Specifically, DXVK 1.9.2 for some gaming components. As I was trying to get Diablo 2 Resurrected working on Linux, I really wanted the newer packages. That's why I always end up doing like Arch on a lot of things, because I love that bleeding edge. But this is a good little middle ground with SID. Yeah, SID typically stays really good. I do like 5.15. I'm really looking forward to NTFS, proper NTFS support. All right, let's fix this polybar, right? Let's come into here. And, oh, actually, you know what? I exited what I wanted. Nah, we're gonna go GUI for a minute. Just to show people we don't have to always be in terminal. Although, sometimes it's been a minute since my last GUI. Let's go. Is that Codium? Might throw Codium on like Workspace 4. Do I have Codium open? Oh, I don't. Huh. No, Codium's not running. Oh, no, it is. Right? Alright. Alright, let's try and open Codium up again. Just showed you about 5 different ways to shut down something. We'll push this to Workspace 4. And we're going to work in here instead of Vim for a second, just to peruse what we did. So the bar is named bar. So the problem I ran into here is if we go back to here, let's go back to BSPWM. Let's open it with old Codium. And you'll see where I launched Polybar right down here. I think I called Titus bar instead of, where is Polybar? Oh, did I launch it up here? Okay. What? Poly. Oh, here it is. I did the full path name. Oh, that's weird. Okay, so it is calling the launch command. That should be fine then. Poly dash bar. That should work. Chris, what is the current status of Proton and EAC and BattleEye? It's all there. It's just up to the developers and the publishers to implement it on Linux. You looked at how weirdly snappy Edge Stable has been. Yeah, Ryan, I have a hard time installing Edge. I have so much. I like rage quit on Windows because of all the Edge dependencies that are in Windows 11 that just drive me bonkers. I still love KDE, Larry. Yeah, and on Friday's video, we'll do a Windows-based server that we'll be able to utilize and launch everything from that server into here. That'll fix all the game issues that we have. Yeah, my personal experience with Edge is I always end up breaking something in Windows. I have not ever installed Edge on Linux, though. So I can't really speak to Linux and its how usable it is. Thanks so much for joining the membership, Fabian. All right, here we go. Let's do another launch here and see why. Because this should work just fine. Let's go to Polybar. What happens if I do launch? Oh, okay. Okay. I see what happens. So if we look at config, there's a monitor. Yeah. See right here? This could be problematic. It's trying to call DisplayPort 4 from our card. That's why we're not getting a bar. I don't think we need that for single monitor setups. I think if you omit it, it should just launch. Yeah, that worked. We've got some definite warnings we need to look at here. This isn't exactly too usable just yet. It is very interesting. Let's see other errors. One reason why I launched this in terminal, another pro tip, if you're new to Linux and you have something weird happening like this and you're like, where's my bar? Or what's going on here? Launch your program in terminal and then read through it. And we can see a lot of problems we have to fix. First off, we have a bunch of invalid values. And what this means is it's calling this right here from this module. So we can look at this module. We can find format background. And we can see what's problem here. And I can tell you right now, it's trying to set this to color 16. And it's like, color 16 doesn't exist. What do I do with this? And that's one thing we have to fix. So we're missing color 16 and color 17. That's a big problem. When you see notices and warnings, not such a big deal. Errors are big deals though. This is disabled because I don't have a wireless card. So let's understand each one of these. Don't have a backlight. So obviously module, the wireless module and the backlight module, since I'm not on a laptop, will be disabled. Let's look at some more errors and just kind of discern things we need to fix. Pulse audio, default sync. Yes, that looks great. And it's really just a couple things here. Color 16 and 17. And then fixing some of that. And then we also need to look through the scripts. I'm looking at the title bar here, which you can see. We got some issues. glibc233 not found. We need to find that. So let's try and find glibc236. Some of these errors are a little weird. So glibc2.33. Let's track down this dependency. And this might be an Arch thing too, to where some things don't carry over from here. It looks like just glibc is what we need. Let's see if we can get that package. There is no glibc, but what we could do is like a grep list of glib, see if there's anything. All right, that's a lot of packages, which is good. I'd rather us have some options. Do we have glibc? Yeah. So we should be able to glibc source. Don't know if that's just going to be source code though. Let's see. It's not a distribution, Fabian. It's something we're creating. The idea behind this, again, is just to make some universal thing where it's going to be, you can game on it, you can do everything you want. This is going to be a little special. In the gaming section, I'm going to address that more on Friday. But now it's more about just kind of theming it out, making a good package of all this, and then making it to where it's universal with any system. Like we just ran into one issue where it was trying to call a certain monitor, which didn't exist. All right, we got that. Let's see, I still see that. Let's go ahead, do a reload. And now So we got Bluetooth right up here. Polybar scripts. So let's shut down some of these polybar scripts and actually take a peek at those. Let's come over here and take a look at all of those. We'll just open the folder, polybar scripts. And we're going to trust that. And now we're going to look for each one of these. I don't think I have a Bluetooth module installed. Let's take a look. Bluetooth. And a good way to kind of test this is just kind of look at the commands it's issuing in the script. I'm looking over here, and if you look, device is paired, and it's trying to run Bluetooth CTL. If it says not command, I think if we do a blue man install, probably that should probably have Bluetooth in there and a lot of the modules. So let's do this and then issue that command. Perfect. So that should fix that Bluetooth script. Let's see if there's any other commands in here that we need to look for. I don't see anything here. Looks like it's just pulling this command and issuing it from the script. Next script is calendar. And first off, do we have XDO tool? Nope. I think that's Xorg tools. XDO would be a different package. So that's going to be part of something as well. Oh yeah, and we're going to fix the padding too. It's just an error right now, so who cares? So we're going to fix that. Arch is testing branch for Debian. That's fair. Arch gets all the cool stuff first. And that's the thing, like a lot of people are always like, hey, which do you like better, Arch or Debian? And I'm like, man, I really like both. His Arch gets, it literally gets all the cool stuff first. But the downside to Arch is it literally gets all the cool stuff first. And sometimes those cool stuff aren't quite baked. So you can have some issues. Yeah, I don't necessarily have to use Polybar. I just want to theme it out, and I want to make it look really, really clean. Like I said, pulling from the Genome project from Barbarossa is one thing I want to do. Now, I don't remember where XDO tool, Bluetooth, Debian. I want to say XDO tool is in... XDO tool right here. Debug symbols, okay. Huh. Doesn't seem like that would be... Might not be what we want. Let's do a list first. Instead of just grabbing that. Let's grep XDO tool. You'll see me run that command a whole bunch. It says it's there. XDO tool. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So we'll get XDO tool going. What else is in here? And that just grabs window focus, mouse location, display geometry. So I've used XDO tool to do scripting, specifically like game hacking. It's really good for grabbing certain windows and moving them around, and also being able to do lose focus and gain focus of different applications, which is really, really good for scripting, because you don't necessarily have to. You could issue a command into a window that doesn't have focus using like XDO tool is a really good explanation of how you could do some really cool stuff. All right, YAD. Has anybody used YAD before? I always wanted a calendar for Linux, because Windows 11 actually removed the calendar on the desktop in Windows. What's YAD? I've never done that. Anybody have experience with YAD? YAD. Huh. Interesting. Let's see. YAD calendar. That's cool. All right, let's see what we get now. Oh, cool. All right. Well, this looks like crap here, but I like that. So that's like whenever you see someone that's got like a genius that does a project, which happens all the time in Linux, you can go to their project, kind of go through each one, and you can learn new things. This is something new I've just learned. YAD, with a lot of these things, can actually do a lot of cool stuff. Look, it did a calendar. It did uncoded. You notice how when it lost focus, it just closes. So when I run this, and I'm like, oh, cool, what day is it? And then I move out of it, it automatically closes with those, this configuration. I mean, if you get nothing from this stream, that right there is pretty darn cool. I love it. That is just a gem. All right, calendar looks good. Redshift, it's not really doing anything. That's whenever you see export, all it's doing is setting environmental variables for other scripts and other things to maybe call on and go, hey, is it on? Or what's the variable name for your interface card or whatever it might be? That's usually an environmental variable, and you can actually set those using export. So that's what that one's doing. This one's doing a to-do. I think we're going to cut the to-do. I don't think I'm going to use this, because I use Notion and it's all baked into my browser. So this is probably going to go bye-bye. Unless anybody else like says, oh, I have to have this. All right, next up, Python 3. This looks like a specific Python 3 script, which is Pomodoro timer for Polybar. Counter for all your completed. I'm kind of out on that. That's an actual. That looks like some kind of binary. Redshift scroll. Do that. So we'll probably get rid of Pomod and the to-do. Redshift looks good. Polybar tasks. Again, getting rid of that. So we can just come through, delete. Yeah, let's just not ask me again. And delete. And delete. And delete. So these are the scripts that we're grabbing from him. The rest is goodbye. And what we'll do is just come back to Polybar. Let's import all of Polybar, and let's take a look at the config. Yeah, so all these scripts I just get from, like I said, are out there that's already done what you're trying to do. Finding and then finding their stuff and then tweaking it to your needs. The big thing I see people do, the biggest noob mistake, is leaving stuff in they don't understand. Don't be afraid to remove things. I base file that they've created, and then I go through and go, okay, well, delete all that stuff. I don't like for this one. I don't like last time. I don't like all that stuff that was added. That, and I think it was more Arch specific. And now we find it. So we have separators, taskbar, which I think, let's take a peek here. Bar tray. We can remove this, I think. Breaking. Weird. Big time clipping. Well, that's weird. Audio's gone? All right, let's give it a reboot. 1 second, guys. Yeah, 1 second. I'm gonna give everything a little reboot. This could be bad. All right, well, I didn't turn the computer off. All right, when in doubt, reboot. Although I still don't have any audio. 1 second. All right, momentary lapse here. Okay, there we go. I got my monitor again. Let's go grab some synthwave. All right, let's see if that does anything, guys. If not, it's probably my Windows. It's probably Windows. Let's be real here. It's probably there. Now the music comes back. We should have it. Yeah, I gave everything back and gave everything a reboot. So now we should have everything. Everything sounds good on my monitor. Felt like Samuel in Jurassic Park there for a second. Yeah, it's probably that. We'll see how it goes. Let me know. Spam chat if it happens again. I saw you guys. All right, back to it. Let's see what happens. Let a reboot never hurt anything. I'm going to be curious. I'm going to watch this on the replay, see how bad this was. Just need to make sure to reboot this box. How long has it been up for? Anything past a couple days on Windows is usually not a good idea. You know what? I might just do a Windows Server build and redo everything on my stream PC with that. Oh, crap. Okay. I left my stream box on for 8 days. Yeah, 8 days of uptime on this is not usually a good idea. All right. Yeah, this is probably my bad. That thing's been on way too much. All right. Well, let me know. Getting back to it, though. Let's take a peek at our stream. The tray, we need to fix this. I'm going to first try commenting this monitor out and see if it can't just detect it without anything. Yeah. Everything's on Stream Beats. Stream Beats Synthwave. I always plug Harris Heller for that. The guy just gives it all away for free. It's amazing. We also need to fix our color 16 and 17. Let's take a look at our color 16, 17. XRDB color 16, 17. These were missing. All right. Oh boy, that's bright. So my X resources is missing a couple things. Let's take a peek. So we have all the colors in our X resources. You notice where we're missing, right? Right here. So whatever I grab for Nord X resources, I'm missing these colors. Let's see what our boy Barbarossa did for his X resources. Did he give us those? Oh, he's using fire coda. Yeah, that's gonna do something. Ooh. So he's grabbing those. X resources is a really good spot to kind of set X term and global colors and some of the other things he's using here. I could definitely learn a thing or two off of this. It looks like fonts. He's messing with the fonts a little bit, the system fonts. X term some more. Usually he's got to be putting his colors in here somewhere. Huh. Let's take a look at his Nordex resources. I think that's a little bit off, but I do think I need to come back and grab these as well. All right. Let's get that. Let's go into the build directory again, and we're going to take a look at his... I think he had in his local... He had it in public. Do I have a public directory? I do not. What about neat things? Do I have that directory? No, I do not. Color schemes, Nordex resources. Nah. All right, so we'll have to find Nordex resources and see what's going on there. So let's go Nordex resources and pull this in. Oh, very pretty. See, this must be the file I grabbed because it only goes up to color 15 and we need color 16 and 17. So he must have a special one. And this is the official Nordex resources. So where is he grabbing that from? Maybe the Nord color palette? Let's see. I think I already did an NPN of this. Where's my terminal? I must have closed it on there. Oh, do I not? I haven't even installed NPM yet. It's got like Node.js, so we get that going. Yeah, I think I already have Fire Coda in here. All right. Now. All right, so we got Nord in there. Let me think about that. How am I going to grab that file? So right now there's one error I'm running into, is it wants these different shades that he's using, but the shades from the official Nordex resources only has 15 colors in its palette. So I'm trying to think of how in the world he did it. Or maybe there's a file in his stuff that did this. I mean, it's got to be something, right? Yeah, I don't see. He's actually not setting any colors. The only thing he's calling is... Oh, no. That's even commented out. So it's got to be something. Define font, nerd font. Oh, maybe... Actually, never mind. X resources is just a different format. He's actually calling this file. But that's fine. That file we've already grabbed. So what we can do... I think we could just change our X resources to match most of his. Before we do that, let's do... we're going to check our installs and just go grab font. What fonts do we have? Quite a bit of fonts. I just want to make sure we have Fire Coda. Fonts Awesome's there. Fonts Noto. I have that for the emojis. I don't see the Fire Coda font. How to get into scripting coding for noobs. Just do it. Do what I'm doing right here. I think anybody can do this. It's just mainly just grabbing something. And the biggest thing I tell a noob starting scripting is try to understand a complete script, because most of it's just going to look foreign when you first start your script. But what you do is find the script that it does a certain thing and then pull it out. Make your own script. Call it like test.sh. I do it all the time because I don't really bash script very much, and I'm not very good at it. So what I do is I just grab that little snippet, toss it in a test file, and then from that test file, I will just test until I get it just right, and then I'll know, hey, that snippet's good, and then I can take it back, and then I learn from doing that trial and error. You saw that a lot when I was doing Arch Titus, as I hadn't done much bash scripting. So that's a really good one, is all that testing. Huh. Alright, Fire Coda I don't think's in there. Let's take a look. I think there's an AP repository with Fire Coda. Might have just been Fire Coda. I'm just checking to see what all I have for installed fonts. Maybe I already installed it. Let's do a grep fire. Fire? Alright, I don't have Fire Coda installed. Dang it. Alright, well. We looked everywhere. It was not there. Fire code. Oh, Fire code. Oh, I was saying it wrong. Bah. Fira. I was saying Coda instead of Fira. Oops. Okay, it's definitely not there. Look at that. Let's grab that. All right, so now we have that font. Was there another font that this depended on? Let's take a look. I know I have that. Noto. I'm pretty sure I have Noto as well. And we're just going to go installed. Noto. Oops. Grep Noto. Yeah, so I have Noto color emoji installed and Noto motto installed. So we're good there. Just seeing if there's any other dependencies in here I might be missing. I want to make this look nice. So inevitably, I'm going to get all this working, and then I got to reproduce it. That's the big thing. So I'll do an export of my installed packages, and then we start kind of ripping it apart, documenting it all, and then we rebuild it all. In each rebuild, it'll get a little cleaner. The first rebuild's going to be ugly. But I've been very, very particular about not installing a bunch of repositories. So I think I only have 2 repositories, VS Codium, and I think there was a wine repository as well. Oh, in Brave. In Brave. I like Brave. Aptitude has been depreciated for years. I don't think Aptitude has been updated in 4 years? When was the last time Aptitude was updated? So somebody in chat was like, use Aptitude. Aptitude. GitHub? Was it GitHub where Aptitude was? Can never remember. Yeah. Ah, I'm good. It was 4 years ago. What was the last commit? 4 years ago, yeah. Yeah. Last commit, October 22nd, 2017. Yikes. Yeah, don't use Aptitude, guys. That's old. I loved Aptitude, though. I even made a video about it like 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, it still works, but do you really want to trust something that hadn't been updated in 4 years? The answer is no. No, you don't. I don't. You need to update, like, a lot's happened to Debian in 4 years. You need an update more than that, man. I'm sure it'll get dropped from the repos soon. It still needs some maintenance. All right, we got all that. We got our colors in. Now we put it all together. Aptitude's just like a front end for apt, which is what I'm using. I mean, obviously for me, I like to just use terminal, but let's try to install it. You know, now that it's got product, I would never do this, but it's fun breaking things sometimes. Aptitude. Let's run this old one. So it kind of shows you all your installed packages, obsolete or locally created. What did I create? Huh. We have utilities. Yeah, I don't see anything too crazy here. Huh. But yeah, you could do a search. It's cool. It's good it's still working. Hadn't been updated in 4 years. Could you imagine a Windows program that hadn't been updated in like 4 years? What would happen? Oh, it would be great. Yeah, it still has a good one. And this is Debian SID too. So that'll be more of the bookworm release, which will be Debian 12 when it comes out. All right. Let's just get sidetracked before we do the bar reload. We're still missing these colors. but we'll approach that here in a second. Also, these are the modules. Where are they getting made or used? Let's take a look. So you have the left, right, separator, Bluetooth. So this one right here, it's gone. Redshift, Dunst. Let's see what else we got. We got Wi-Fi, which I will leave. Time. Power menu. I thought there was some notes in there too. Let's take a look at our source. Kind of what we're grabbing from. Our source doc. If we look at his taskbar right here, this is kind of what we're trying to emulate. It's right in here, so it'd be, I guess that's like the Rofi menu. It's going to be the tasks or the BSPWM themed out. This right here I need to get rid of. I think that's X window. All this looks pretty good. I think we should be good. Yeah. So with that done, let's take a peek about separator left, BSP layout, BSP mode, task warrior, left, right, separator. So we need to get rid of all that. So we got rid of all the modules it should be calling. And now we go through our modules just to see if there's anything else. I'm noticing that our icons look like they've disappeared. Might need to look at that. Shade. Huh. Task warrior we're going to get rid of. And to do, we're going to also look for those two things as well. Make sure there's not a call for task warrior or to do anywhere in here. And also this one as well. So if we look for task, nope. To do, nope. All right. And then Pomo. Nope. All right. All that's good. We have our fonts, fire codes installed, fonts, palm icons. All that looks good. I think we can save that out. Let's do a reload and take a peek. Although, if we look at it like a blank desktop, task polybar. Oh no, that disappeared. Bluetooth read argument. All right, let's reload. Ooh, so close. Still running into that. We're getting a good look at our. It's actually showing what's happening on the desktop. We do like a neo fetch, that'll change to that, right? Ah, no, not quite. It's just showing batch prompt. Okay. Brave, Titus. Okay, it's neat. Next, let's look at Bluetooth.sh. Read argument count. It might be because I don't have Bluetooth in here that we run into this problem. So if we look at .config polybar and we vim out config. Let's look for Bluetooth. Go to next. I would say for the Bluetooth, I think it was like line 4 in that script that we need to take a look at. Let's take a look. Bluetooth. Line 4 would be right in here. Bluetooth service is active, which if we do a system or sudo system ctl status Bluetooth. Get there eventually. It is inactive, so it should just stop the script as soon as it runs if it calls anything. If active, else all right. I might come back to this one. I really want that Bluetooth there, though, because I know a lot of people will be using this on a laptop. What do we got? Line 4, read arg count. Look at polybar. I'm going to actually just zero out that line. Basically, leave it there, just comment it out, and then we're going to come back. I think it's something with how it's being displayed. Specifically the icon that is displayed. I don't think it's in my current set. And I think that's in relation to the X resources we talked about earlier or looked at. Oh. Oh, is it back? I think it died for a little bit. Yeah, I'm about to wipe out this stream PC too. I think I'm going to just run a Windows Server on it. I'm pretty sure Windows Server will be much more reliable than Windows 10. I'm just about ready to just give up on all the residential Windows. At least server's somewhat reliable. Once you add Microsoft Store and all the garbage they put in it, it's hard to get it reliable. All right. Yeah, if you do settings, you're looking at 14 or 144p, just hit the little settings cog and then change it. Yeah, or just hit refresh. I think on the whole page, it'll come back. I don't know why it does that whenever the stream drops for a little bit. All right, let's come into here. It's still going to call the Bluetooth plugin, but we're going to basically make that plugin do nothing, which would be right here. All right, I think we can grab that. Save that out. And we're also gonna, I don't know if that's enough for it to go on, but it might be. Let's take a look. And then polybar, yes. All right, so now we just gotta fix that padding up. Make that look a little prettier. And then it's all about getting the emojis and the style in. Pretty much all the errors should be fixed at that point. The big thing here is we're missing a lot of things. Like I can tell it's missing the icons after we did that one install. It's also missing some other issues like right here. These shades, 16 through 18, don't exist. We need to troubleshoot that. But let's first fix our padding, which would be, let's just come into here, and we're just going to Vim. I'm going to add, what do we got? Probably 69, right? I'd say that's going to work. All right, write that out, reload, and perfect. All right, now we have our display properly. Got some decent padding. We are missing our bar over here for BSPWM, and you can see at the very beginning I said watch out for this, which usually means some shenanigans are afoot. We're getting close to it, though. Getting very, very close. And I did 69 as a joke there, but it does look like 69 pixels is the perfect amount for that. We'll see. We'll see if it retains. Chris, what do you think about using Windows AME? I've been using it for months, and it's gone very well. It's good, but what happens is your updates get so far out of date, it becomes a security liability, which is an issue. That's the big problem with AME is a lot of people won't do the security roll-ups on it, and while it's very stable, it does run into those issues because there's no Windows update. All right, so we have that. This is how his looks, and you see the fonts are a little off. We're missing the power menu. We're missing all these icons, see? Almost everything we're seeing is iconless, and once we get those icons and this little background image, like right here and here, that's the color shades I'm talking about. So let's fix that. And we'll make it look very, very nice. And coming into here, what do we got? Actually, I think it was over here. We have this, we have Fonts Awesome, we have Fire Coda, or Fire Code. Trying to think what would be the best way to grab all these X resources. I'm gonna leave X cursor out just because I like my cursor. I'm not a big fan. Capitine cursors are nice, but they're not great. So we're gonna grab all of this. Actually, we can just do it all. And then let's go ahead and open up our X resources, which should be right here. We'll just open it up over here. We'll leave Nord. How do I want to save this out? I think we could do .nord. Let's save this as xnord. It's not a thing. That is definitely not a thing, but you'll see what I'm going to do. I'm going to save it right here. Place. And then we'll call xnord from here, which we saw that this include right here. And we're just gonna grab. So that should call and include this file. And then we should have everything from his, although I don't like his cursor theme. We're deleting that. I want to keep my cursor theme. All right, that looks pretty good, guys. We'll see. Let's do a reload here. I think we're gonna reboot completely, just because we've installed a lot of stuff. I want that menu. If I could get that menu with that icon, that'd be choice. But let's reboot. Which do you prefer for backups? Linux, Timeshift, Snapper. Timeshift, I like the GUI the best. Snapper, I'm trying to get into. I haven't really dedicated much time to it just yet. Are you making your own distro? Basically. Whoa. That is large. That is large and in charge there. Whoa. Holy mackerel. What? The DPI. Oh man, the DPI is nuts. Oh, that is glorious. Oh boy, that's funny. Let's fix our DPI. That's funny. All right. What's the basic DPI? Probably it's. Let's just go 6.9. Oh man, what do we? Can I log out? Oh well, we'll reboot again. 96. Okay, 96 is the DPI. Let's do that. Source. Ah, oops. Yeah, I think this guy was using a 4K monitor. I would definitely say he's using a 4K monitor because, wow, that's nuts. 420? Yeah, 420 would be insane. Let's just do a reboot now. That's funny. I was like, whoa! Even I can read that chat message, right? Wow, you know what? That poll has been going since the beginning of the stream, and we have bottom has overtaken the top as it's gone on. I've just let it kept rolling. That's amazing. Come on. What happened here? Can I not even... I can't even... Oh, there it goes. Okay, max there. There's that. A little slow on the network startup there. Is the stream dying? No, stream's not dying. Huh. Alright, let's end that poll. 1,215 votes for that. Wow. That's kind of cool that I could run a poll for an entire hour. People did respond and said they liked the taskbar at the bottom. How about that? How about that? All right, well, obviously we have some font issues to deal with here. Some major super duper font issues. Probably the best thing to do is, I bet you it's still spitting out the color problems. Let's take a look. Let's come into... Let's just run... Like I said, if you ever run into anything, problems in Linux, with a program, game, whatever it might be, launch your terminal. And then launch whatever it is you're trying to do from inside the terminal. What this does is it gives a good basis of what's going wrong. And let's take a peek here. Invalid value. See, we're still running into that color issue, color, and no fallback is set. So obviously that is a major issue we have with Nord that we need to fix. And we still don't have our fonts. Right here. These characters, it's recognizing them in my terminal, but it's not recognizing them outside my terminal. So we have a font issue, we have a color variable, global variable issue, and that's what's causing this not to be themed. Everything else is fixed. All our scripts are fixed. All that's done. We just need the buttons with the emojis on them to basically make everything work. So we're like right there at the very end. Uncomment. I don't think that's a comment, Jordan, in X resources, but we can take a look. Let's take a peek. Because it's still pulling that, I think. Let's go cd vim. So hash signs or the, you know, those signs in X resources. Oh crap, let's quit out. Let's relaunch. When you're in here, the X resources file works differently from a standard bash script. What? Oh, I'm not doing vim. Note to self, remove error check, delete. All right. So you can see these are getting defined, I think, on the font size. I mean, we can try removing those, but I believe that is proper syntax. Yeah. So let's take another, like I said, when in doubt, let's go and look at someone else's example. Today's objective is fun. All right, X resources. Examples. See, define. Scott, yes, Arch Titus was fixed. It should be totally working in everything. So you can use it in a VM using Legacy Boot. You could use it on your system using UEFI. Should install everything just great. There was a couple little things that we missed. Like I think some packages that were causing some people not to get to the desktop, but that should also be resolved as I've been kind of looking through that. All right, everything looks good here. No, this isn't Arch Titus. This is Debian. I am pulling a lot of resources from an Arch project to make this happen. Let's see. You know what? One thing I am looking at here. That Fire Kodo Nerd font. The Font Awesome 5. Let's take a look at our installed real fast again. And we're going to grep Awesome. Yeah, Font Awesome is installed, and it is version 5. So we have all the fonts, but it's not able to read those characters. And I don't know why. We'll have to figure out that. I do still need to modify our X resources, though. Maybe the nerd fonts. Yeah, Serendip, I think you're right there, man. It's nerd fonts. I wonder if Debian has that in their repo. I bet they don't. Do they have nerd fonts in here? That would be cool. Yeah, I didn't think they would. I think we just got to grab them directly. I agree with you. Let's go Fire Code Nerd Font Debian. I think we're just going to go direct to the source. Nerd fonts. Nerd fonts. Downloads. And I want to say, where is that? Fire coded nerd fonts. It should be right here. Let's copy that. Let's just grab this nerd font. And then we're just gonna move this to dot fonts. Dot fonts. Unzip. So that should have everything in here. All right, I don't see anything there. So we should be able to do a FC cache. Reverse force, I think it is. All right. And I think that should get us our nerd fonts. And if we come back into config poly and we do a launch. I need to disable the bell. It's so annoying. All right, what do we got now? All right, now we're making progress. Thank you so much, Saren. Couldn't you just install them using TTF? Probably. I don't know. I like using just copying them directly. I usually just grab a font package, extract it, and then from that extraction, I usually just, do my thing. I just force a respawn through there. All right, so now we fixed the fonts. We just got to get those colors for the shading. What's this? Unmatched character right there. That works. Okay. Well, that's good. Does that give me anything? So this character, I need to look up. What about this? Nope. Nope. Well, brightness is off. Couple things. There's nothing there, so I need to remove the separator. Muted. None muted. That doesn't have a clicky at all. These are all my workspaces that aren't showing up. And then finally, that's the Rofi menu, which also has an unmatched character. Very close. Right, so this isn't like the final product at all. We're just basically just kind of hashing together what exactly we want. And like, if you're worried about like, hey, what packages are we using? we can easily do one, grab our fonts folder, which if we go CD and then into fonts, we're just going to grab all these fonts. Instead of like doing packages to maintain these fonts, we're probably just going to grab them direct, as like nerd fonts and other things aren't in there. Let's quit this out. And if you're curious, how much disk space is all those fonts? Let's just do incurses disk usage. And our fonts package comes in at a whopping, where's our fonts? 237 megs. I mean, fonts are a little heavy, but that's not terrible. Squadra Munter, how was your day? Doing good, man. How was yours? We're just kind of working through some issues, kind of cobbling together a menu bar here. We just need to still work. What's happening with that? Ah, there it is. Ah, man. Yeah, I've been having some issues with my stream lately. I think this stream PC is on the way out, guys. Yep. Oh, man, I tell you. I think I'm going to work on this a little more. Get it going. On the next stream on Friday, we'll follow up with this. But, yeah. I tell you. And I think I'm going to wipe out my stream PC and just throw Windows Server on it. I'm pretty sure all the Elgato stuff that I really need and depend on will be there. And Windows Server is much more reliable than standard Windows. Let's start over. How was your day? Yeah, you know, it happens, man. It's going pretty good, though, man. I like it. We're making some progress on this. Like I said, it may look a little rough around the edges just yet, but I think a lot of people understand the idea of a lot of the making of it and getting some of the desktop figured out, which we're working on little by little. It's just the little things that you can spend days on, and the aesthetic is something that, like, most Linux users just kind of completely overview, but having something really stable and very, very clean really makes a massive difference, and that's one of the big things here. Why not stream in Linux? I have a Stream Deck, a couple different Stream Decks, and I've used the Linux open source utility for that, and it's a little problematic. And I have some capture utilities that just aren't working properly in Linux. The big one was, I think it was the Steam Deck Pro, which I have a 4 HDMI input that doesn't work very good. I do have a Magewell card that works really well, though. So, you know, that's it. You know, DWRT, it's been a long time since I used that. I remember back in the old days when it was all free and you could use DDWRT on the old, what it was named after. I think it was the WRT 54G. That was from the, I think it was like 2002 when that was everywhere. The Linksys 54RG. It was great, man. I love that custom firmware. It was fantastic. See if there's any other here. Is this based on Debian? Yes, it is, Eric. Debian BSPWM. Everything else is I'm going to run in scripts, so there's not going to be basically any components to it. The whole purpose is to have everything kind of baked in there and not have a lot of the bloat that comes with the traditional display environments or desktop environments. specs of the main computer. This is a 54. Here, I can actually just show you. It'd be easier. Neo Fetch. There you go. It's an old AMD 5600X, and then we have the 32 gigs of RAM, a 2060, and we're going to be swapping all this out. One thing I'm going to do on Friday's stream is take the 2060 out. I'm just done with NVIDIA and Linux. If you're using NVIDIA, you love NVIDIA, just don't use Linux. I mean, I just really hate the modules and the proprietary blobs that you have to keep up with, and the drivers. It's not a great experience. It's just so much better on AMD that I'm removing this and taking it, putting it in a Windows box, and then taking a Vega 64 that I have, popping it in this one. So this is going to switch out to the Vega 64. I'm done with NVIDIA and old Linux. I can't. And I blame NVIDIA for that, mind you. It's just, I don't like how that structure is. So I'm going to switch that out. And then we're going to be building a whole new PC that's just going to be a game server. And that way I can run Linux all the time, no matter what. And then if I want to play a game, I'll have a dedicated server basically for that. And it'll just pipe everything to wherever I'm at. And I need to upgrade my Wi-Fi probably. We'll probably go with like Wi-Fi 6 because I do want to see if I can't stream. I know I can game stream here because it's all 10G, but if I was inside, I think if I'm on my laptop, that's one thing I would love to game stream to my laptop through this, which would be pretty awesome. Oh yeah, YouTube 144. If you refresh the stream, it'll do it. It's just because of the drop we had earlier. Will you build? Not so much. I really like pfSense these days, so I've been doing that. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, and that's not to say you can't use NVIDIA. I just am always hopping around so much that I really like using AMD for that. It's so much better. This is BSPWM. I really like BSPWM. The first window manager I built was I really liked Awesome Window Manager a lot. Yeah, and NVIDIA is a little weird for Linux support. I agree with that too, Rux. That's really good. i3 is fine. You know, I just like BSPWM because a lot of their configs were written with Bash, and you can script it a little bit easier, I find. I really like BSPWM so far. But I mean, I'm pretty new to BSPWM. Obviously, this is the first system I'm building with it. Eventually I'll get there, Peter. You know me. Chris, are you going to do a pfSense tutorial? I did like a basic one, but I don't know. It's really niche. I don't know how many people would like that pfSense. Let's see. What AMD card are you going to switch to? Vega 64. I already have it inside, and I have a really nice Vega 64, so I'll put that on my studio PC and just kind of play with that. I tried Qtile a little bit. I ended up switching to BSPWM because Qtile felt a little bit more limiting, but again, I'm no expert in either, so take that with a grain of salt. i3 gaps on Debian. A lot of people run i3 gaps. It's probably the most common window manager. I'm on Awesome. I've been since a year back. Yeah, you got to be comfortable with Lua if you're doing Awesome. I'm fairly comfortable with Lua, and I just really love how the theme I had with Awesome was just amazing. BSP and WM, obviously, getting this theme kind of going, it's been challenging, but it's really nice. It's kind of a fun. We've made a lot of progress today already. So this is a show how Linux is used stream. Oh, no, I haven't really, not really reacting to Linus's experiment. This is more of like building your own operating system using Linux. And this is just like a complete customization. And I'll package all this up afterwards and kind of document it all. Right now, we're just kind of experimenting and trying to basically build something new that is really unique, but really clean. And it will work differently than how Mac or Windows uses it. I'm not really reacting to Linus, though. I need to watch his video first before I react to it. But I really appreciate the coverage that Linus gave Linux. I think that's a good thing. I think everybody in the Linux community should be happy with that. He dedicated a month to it, basically, which is pretty awesome. Xmonad, I don't like the initial config. I think once you dive in, and like it has a rabid fan base, it's just the initial hump in Xmonad is even worse than most window managers, at least from what I saw. I installed it and I was like, oh, I don't have time for this. that was basically my impression of Xmonad. Yeah, and I think what is it? DistroTube uses Xmonad, and I think he loves Xmonad. I remember he had like a story about how he found it through like Brian Lunduke or something like that. It's been a couple years since I remember seeing him when he first went into Xmonad, but I've followed it a little bit. Have you done any building your own Linux kernel? No, I haven't done anything like that. A lot of times I've pointed people in the direction of like, was it TDK or not TDK, TKG, that builds a lot of like a more like gaming optimized kernel. There's Liquorix, Xanmod, and some other ones that are more packaged for a lot of folks out there. But like building your own Linux kernels would be a little too niche, I think, for old YouTube. They're going to make their own GNOME and Rust. That's friggin' awesome. I will be first to sign up for that. I like Pop OS a lot. I just don't like GNOME. But I like how they structured it a lot. Would you choose a browser between ungoogled Chromium and LibreWolf? Probably ungoogled Chromium. I think that would... I like a lot of the Chromium thing because a lot of the web is built around Chromium. So just for compatibility, I don't necessarily like the browser itself, though. Like, I think the Linux experiment's doing Epiphany, which I thought, hey, that's hats off to you if you can do it. That's amazing. Yeah, I wouldn't use CentOS. I would use Rocky Linux. The original creator of CentOS is the Rocky Linux creator. So you can actually use Rocky Linux. It's basically the new CentOS, and use it. Don't use anything from Red Hat or RHEL, which would be CentOS Stream and all that garbage. You want to use Rocky Linux, and it is a fantastic, if not the best, distro to use to build a web server or a Minecraft server. Minecraft server is a little bit more niche. I think on my Minecraft server, I think I was like using a Ubuntu 20 server, which I think was just because that was what my VPS provider gave. And I was like, okay. So my VPS provider had that on there, so I just chose it. But I don't get too stuck on the distros. But if I had a choice, Rocky Linux is what I'd choose for the server. Building package from source versus binary package. Choose one and why. Most people choose binary package just because it's so much quicker and easier for the end user most times. However, having said that, in Linux you have all these different package managers, and that could be problematic. So I say know how to build from source, because inevitably some people develop stuff and they're like, I don't want to make a package for apt and all the Debian installs. And then I got to do Pacman for Arch users. And then I got to do RPM for all those Fedora users out there. There's all these different package managers, and bundling up all these different binaries for each different type of distribution can be tiresome. That's why Linux never really has widespread support, nor why it probably ever will. When it comes to like desktop users, and that's okay. So I mean, building from source, I think for a lot of people getting into Linux and you really want every package, I really highly recommend doing that. I know there's a lot of solutions in the Linux realm, like you have apt images, flatpaks, and snaps. I really hate these solutions. And then you also have, hey, you can add different repositories and then rely on some other guy to make those binaries for that specific package. I think this is also a bad solution. I think minimal repositories, and hopefully the binary is already there natively. If it's not, I think building from source is really my fallback, where building from source is really important. And if you don't know how to build from source, that's one thing that you're really doing yourself a disservice when using Linux. So it's an important thing, because most people, when they start installing all like 20 different repositories, I'm just like, ugh, that's brutal. You'll run into conflicts. You'll have overlapping repositories. You just, it's not a fun place to be. You really want minimal repositories, and then you build the packages yourself. And then whenever it goes out of date, you can rebuild it and get the newer version, which is good. Connection speed, not very big. It's not a great connection, obviously. What's your favorite Linux distribution? Oh man, probably Debian. Just vanilla Debian. Everything's based on it. Has probably the biggest market share, and it is very, very stable. Arch, a close second though. I have not, man. I need to check that out, Ben, though. Valheim. Yeah, I've had a lot of people say, you should try Linux from scratch. I just haven't yet. James, I'm really liking Thunar, man. Thunar is like my new best friend for file management. I've ditched Dolphin, and also I don't use Nautilus anymore. Nautilus I was a big fanboy of for a while, but I really am digging Thunar. Thunar is like my new favorite file manager. Yeah, I could see that. A lot of people say that. I love Arch for its bleeding edge repositories, though. Getting the first packages first is pretty amazing. Like every time I go from Arch to like a Debian based distro, I'm always like, oh man, I wish I had this newer package of this, and then I just build it from scratch, build it from source, like that earlier question. I have it in Debian, but the accessibility and ease of Arch to get those packages is both its benefit and its downfall in a lot of ways. But I do like it. Oh man, I need to check out Hikari. Is he still streaming on Twitch? I don't use BSD Unix. Good question though, Matt. What flavor now with whatever flavor now with plasma? Yeah, plasma KDE's definitely one of my faves, man. Nemo. Oh yeah, Nemo's the cinnamon spin from the Mint team. I do like Nemo though. Nemo I think is based on Nautilus though, if memory serves me correct. Can you rely on time shift to undo mistakes with bag? Yeah, totally. I've blown up Arch I don't know how many times doing all kinds of stupid stuff. And time shift has saved my bacon almost every time. Vanilla Linux. Yeah, I need to. Gives me a smile. Auto update source packages. You don't. So, like, a good example, like, the biggest auto update you're ever gonna get, like, let's go into my build directory. Anytime I clone something, I get into here. Let's say something changes and I go into like polybar themes. You can see I'm on the master, and I would just do a git pull. It would go ahead and grab anything, any updates, anything new, and then you would build out that program again. So when you're building from source, I like to have a build directory, and then I do a git clone, and then it's kind of separated out. So I know, hey, I'm using this of this project, and then you can choose your branch. You can choose how often it's pulled from, all that business. It's really good. But that's just kind of how I manage it. Did you want to react? Yeah, I'll definitely react to the LTT video. I might just upload it to YouTube, although I know he uses full screen for an MCN, and I do worry about the video getting claimed, so I have to watch doing a react video to LTT. Oh man, I love Hackers. It is like the most inaccurate hacking film of all time. But man, that is just Hollywood doing a bunch of drugs and saying this is what we think hacking is, and it is a blast. I'll give them that. It's a fun watch. It's hilarious. Ugh. I think you should look up Easy Nix. I think it is. I can't say his name, but he has a great Arch ISO. I think it's called Easy Archer or Easy Launcher. Let me see if I can't find it for you. But he's done his entire project over building your own Arch ISO, and he made it much more user-friendly than what you see in the Arch repository. And I think he's on YouTube too. I think he's a smaller YouTuber with like 10,000 subscribers, but he has his own project, which I've looked at, and I was like, it's pretty legit. And it builds the ISO, where my script does a full automated script from a vanilla Arch ISO. His makes an ISO with all your packages bundled in and with it, which is really nice, which is pretty cool. First Linux distro I ever used, Knoppix. I don't think it's around anymore, but I used that to hack Wi-Fi networks and pen test a lot in the mid 2000s. So that would actually been mid to early 2000s, so 2003 to 2005, and then I used CentOS professionally a whole bunch, like CentOS 6 and CentOS 7 from the late 2000s and early 2010s. Could you do a collaboration with LTT on Linux and well, I would do that in a heartbeat, Matt. I would even pay out of my own to fly up to Canada. The exposure alone would be worth it for me, so he doesn't have to compensate me. I would totally do that. It's just, does he want to do that? And if he does, dude, yeah, I'll fly up there. I'll take a couple weeks off my day job, and we'll hash it out. Or a week, whatever it takes, man. I would do that in a second. Because there's so many things, and Anthony's there, though, to help him, too. Anthony's pretty good. But there's definitely some things I would love to... hell, I would just love to sit down and talk with Anthony. That'd be probably the joy of that trip. If I ever got to do that, it'd be awesome. Yeah, actually, yeah, LTD, I think it was over PCI pass-through, wasn't it, David? When Wendell showed him how PCI pass-through works, and some of the Linux gaming Wendell did when he was out there. Yep, there it was. EasyNix Arch. That was the one. So if you ever do want to create your own Arch ISO, EasyNix did it. And he did a great job. I wouldn't even try to replicate that. So he did a great job of building your own ISO using Arch with your own packages. The thing about it is it's a vanilla ISO build, and the reason why I don't like doing Arch ISO builds is because Arch moves so quick that you would have to continually update it. So if I made a video with my own ISO and Arch, in a month, it'd be obsolete, and I'd have to rebuild that ISO, so the upkeep's quite big. Where on like Debian, I wouldn't have to worry about that, as it can stay stable for a lot longer. But that's why I made a script and not an ISO for Arch. I think LFS is a great learning tool. So if you're looking on learning a lot more on Linux, it's great. What do you work on? Infrastructure mainly, just odds and ends. I don't really do much these days. My big heyday was probably like 5 years ago. These days, just SMB stuff. So really small, doesn't really keep me up late at night. I just fix little knick-knack stuff these days. Nothing too bad. Very fortunate in that regard. Knock on wood. Is there an ISO or a GUI Arch install out there that will just install the actual bare minimums to get Arch up and running? That does better FS or a backup of sorts. John, I probably need to do a branch out of Arch Titus if you're interested in that, where we just do the bare minimum. Because you could do the bare minimum install under a gig and probably 400, 500 packages, something like that. Drive to Louisiana instead. Yeah, I think DT's in Louisiana, so that's only a couple hours down the road. Maybe I'll hit up DT. That way I don't have to fly to Canada. Be much easier. Oh, yeah, it was Looking Glass, which is really cool. That's a really nice way to do PCI pass-through without having two monitors. Which, if you're unfamiliar, PCI pass-through, all it does is take an entire graphics card, make it dedicated to a virtual machine, and then Looking Glass makes it to where you don't have to have two monitor inputs hooked up. So the first way to do like gaming on Linux with a Windows VM was you'd have a VM with a dedicated graphics card, and then you'd pass that graphics card over into basically that VM, and then you'd have the output of that to a second input of your monitor, and then you change the input of your monitor when you launch the VM, and then you'd play. What Wendell and I think the Looking Glass team, I don't know, I think Wendell contributed to them, but basically what they did was they made it to where you don't need to do that anymore. Looking Glass would copy the frame buffer from that video input, so you could easily take it and launch a Looking Glass window that would read all that stuff without having to have that dedicated graphics card, or without the dedicated monitor input. You wouldn't no longer have to do, let me switch my input, I'm on my Windows VM. You would just have Looking Glass take care of it, which is pretty good. I did a terrible job explaining all that, but you got the gist of it. Do you have any suggestions on Linux Pi kind of system to scan USB sticks before you plug it into Windows to make sure they don't have a virus? I don't know on that one. I would probably do like a Raspbian if you're going to use a Pi, and then you could do like trying to think of the best package for that. Probably. It's been a while. I remember I set up something kind of like that to where all the files that got ingested from a network went through kind of a scan, but it's slipping my mind right now what I was using. Oh yeah, I remember. I used to do that all the time with DT. These days, I'm just not having the time. Oh, like $60. I have crap internet. My internet is pretty terrible. When do you think Wayland, Pipewire, or Better Efforts will take over? Oh, Lewis, I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see if it does. I'm not sold it will. A lot of people don't like change. I do like Pipewire, and I do like Better FS. Wayland, though, I'm still not on board with the Wayland crew. I hear what they're saying, and I know it's better than Xorg from, you know, the proper build of it and everything, but I don't know, man. I'm not sold on that yet. Oh man, I need to move to Germany. Yeah, I got like 100 down, maybe 20 up. So I can saturate my bandwidth pretty easily. If I like leaked my IP, I'm sure someone could DDoS me with ease. But yeah, well. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to shut it down for today. I know today was that was about a 3-hour stream, but it was always fun kind of coming out, checking this out. I love that we ended up with something like this. Now I'm just going to fix the coloring, work on those fonts. We're still missing a couple fonts that I'll repair, and then we'll get the start of next stream. We'll kind of figure all that out, and I'm just kind of documenting this as it goes so we have something really fantastic to work with. And once I have this in place, we should be ready to move on to some more optional things and really kind of queuing it out. Now for Friday's stream, what I'm gonna do is this up here. We're ripping out the 2060. We're installing a whole new game server. We probably will. I think I'm just gonna get a bunch of Windows Server licenses, and we're gonna use Windows Server for that, as I really am kind of done with Windows 10 and 11. I really hate using them now, and almost every one of my Windows boxes I'm gonna be ripping out a lot of. But for that box, we'll see what we end up doing. I probably should use Windows 11 just because for videos, I'm really not liking the latest updates for a lot of the Windows, both Windows 10 and 11. I'm getting really burnt out on them. So that's kind of what we're doing, but we'll be setting up a Windows-based computer, a lot of hardware in the next stream, because I'll try and do like an overhead. I don't know where I'm going to stick the camera, but I'll have an overhead basically looking down on this, and we're going to basically build a computer to dump in the rack that'll host all our Windows games. And that way we can stay in this environment and then just use Moonlight to game stream, which I've done past videos on. But it'd be a lot of fun for sure. So thanks all for coming out. It was great. Great having y'all. All right, guys. Take it easy. Have a great week. And I'll see you guys Friday, probably Friday morning then, my time. And with that, take it easy.